afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4.
It's Friday. That was a good one
today.
Nice.
Michael Bruno, as you can hear, is in the house. He'll be
as well as everyone else, too, as well.
Yeah, I think Chris Reese.
We got the whole gang here. It's a party.
Yeah, it is. And we'll get to all that in just a minute. But first, here's what's making news on this Friday. The Madison man charged with shooting a man in the back of the head is being sentenced today.
And more than 1,200 students and teachers walked out of class on Madison's west side in protest of a security guard fired over a racial slur. We will bring you there.
And White House officials are walking back comments from Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, in which he linked the decision to withhold military aid to Ukraine with an investigation of Democrats.
Let's get to the weather words first. What a beautiful fall day out there. I woke up this morning and was like, oh, this is it right here.
There we go. The colors are going.
You can definitely see those right off the belt line there. I'm assuming that's the Arboretum area.
Yeah,
that's where you can always see that.
They start first, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. A few raindrops tomorrow, though, and Chris is outside, out on the weather patio in this wonderful fall weather. But unfortunately, you got to deliver that so-so news, right, Chris?
Yeah, we will see a few raindrops tomorrow. So let's just take a moment to enjoy what's out here right now, folks. Plenty of Friday sunshine out there. So if you have plans to get outdoor this afternoon, this evening, take advantage of it. Definitely do it. Temperature-wise, we are at 59 degrees right now, which is our high for the day. Those winds coming out of the south and southeast at 18 miles per hour. It is certainly breezy. That is one thing that I can tell you, just being out here. 61 down in Janesville, Monroe sitting at 60 right now. Let's head over to Boscobel, 65 there. La Crosse at 66 warm degrees. 70s then as you work your way just a little bit further towards the south and west. All of Iowa in the 70s, 73 as you work your way through parts of southern Minnesota. These temperatures are a lot warmer than we were just 24 hours ago. The reason for that, there's actually a little warm front that is sneaking on through, but there is a cold front back across the high plains that will be introducing more rain chances as we head into Saturday. We'll be timing all of that in Maine weather. We're watching traffic. Those folks begin to head home on this Friday. This is the Beltline at Todd Drive right now, which oddly enough is moving pretty smoothly. I've seen some additional slowdowns, though, especially over towards John Nolan. We're watching that Beltline mainly really between about Todd Drive, Seminole Highway, all the way over towards John Nolan and Broadway by the Walmart. That's where you're going to see the worst delays in the eastbound direction. If you're headed westbound, once you get past about Rimrock and then over towards Park Street, that is where you're going to see your slowest delays. Downtown, we are also seeing them on Park Street as well. There's some construction going on that's really creating some delays outbound region. You'll be tapping on the brakes, but it's Friday. Everyone pack your patience so we can get home today. We'll be tracking the weather and traffic throughout the show.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Antonio Gentry will spend 30 years in prison. The 37-year-old shot and killed Rayshawn Jackson in Madison last May.
Our Amanda Quintana is here with details on today's sentencing. Amanda.
Gentry pleaded guilty in August to 3 of the 10 counts he was charged with, including second-degree intentional homicide, felony possession of a firearm, and armed robbery. Gentry, a now 13-time convicted felon, shot 24-year-old Jackson in the back of the head. Jackson's family saying the two had a history of violence stemming from a romantic relationship with the same woman. In court, Gentry brought up the fact that he thought Jackson had sexually assaulted his 5-year-old daughter. His attorney calling this a, quote, imperfect self-defense case. Gentry made a statement to the judge today saying that he was sorry, but that this really didn't come on suddenly. There was a lot between the two of them. We'll hear more about that at 5 o'clock.
We will see you then. Amanda, thank you.
UW-Madison officials are investigating a series of posters found around campus that displayed what they're calling exclusionary messages. In a statement, the university says these posters appear to be part of a coordinated campaign calling attention to the experiences of underrepresented students, adding the school stands against racism and all other forms of hate and any messages of exclusion. Students who weren't involved hope others who see those posters use them to open up a discussion.
They need to see that it is a good message, that we need to be talking about these things and having these conversations, these difficult conversations that are uncomfortable to have in a place like Wisconsin, but it's necessary in order to improve the campus environment for everyone.
The university says it has policies that prohibit posting unauthorized material on campus and will follow up as they see appropriate.
Firefighters say a fire at the Madison Mallards baseball park is being investigated as an arson. Firefighters were called out just before 10 o'clock last night for a fire in the park's gift shop. The fire was quickly put out, but flare-ups continued well into early this morning. The building's roof collapsed as a result. Damage is estimated at around $150,000. Madison School District administrators are speeding up their process to reinstate Marlon Anderson, the security guard who was fired this week for telling a student not to use a racial slur that was used against him.
Students and teachers at West High School walked out of school this morning to protest. Jamie Perez was there, and she joins us now with more details on what happened today. And what's next, Jamie?
Well, this whole process took several hours this morning. Students were chanting around the district administration building saying that the zero tolerance policy has to go. Students and staff today saying they want Marlon to come back. The students marched from West High down to the district administration building. While most of the students stayed outside and chanted for hours, student leaders with the Black Student Union went inside and sat down for a couple of hours to talk to the interim superintendent and the Board of Education president about Marlon being reinstated and using this situation as a learning opportunity for everyone. When they came out of their meeting, the students said they felt like their voices were being heard.
Anything to do with us, our voices will be heard. From now on, there will be no more decisions made without our consultants. But in regards of Marlon, there's still a process going on. They took everything that we said into consideration.
The interim superintendent and Board of Education president both said they were very happy to see students taking a stand on something they believed in. They said the students brought up some points to them that they had not considered before, that they will review their current zero tolerance policy, and that this is a learning opportunity for all of those in charge. And you might recall that there were a handful of school staff that were fired last year for using racial terms in school as well. District staff said they are also in the process of appeals for one other teacher who was fired to also reinstate them, and that they plan to speed up this process to consider reinstating Marlon Anderson as well.
All right, Jamie, thanks for the update.
Sure.
And this has made national news, this story here. It has drawn the attention of some celebrities as well. Music legend Cher tweeted at our Madeline O'Neill that if there is a lawsuit filed against MMSD, that she would pay for it. Speaking of national news, President Trump is coming to the defense of a top White House official facing fallout over comments regarding Ukraine. Meanwhile, House Republicans are accusing their Democratic counterparts of skirting the rules in their impeachment inquiry. Nicole Killian has more from Capitol Hill.
This is a terrible witch hunt.
President Trump defended his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, a day after Mulvaney seemed to admit a quid pro quo over Ukraine military aid.
I think he clarified it.
During a briefing Thursday, Mulvaney linked the withholding of aid with an investigation into a debunked theory that 2016 election meddling originated in Ukraine.
What you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happen as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy.
Later, Mulvaney issued a statement saying there was absolutely no quid pro quo and the president never told him to withhold any money over a computer server.
Many Republicans are backing Mulvaney and feel he has cleared up his comments, but Democrats vehemently disagree.
He told the truth and then he had to correct it.
Both sides continue to spar over the impeachment inquiry.
Our side cannot call witnesses. You think that's fair? When we were in the minority, we were not allowed to do what you are requesting to do. We were not allowed to do it. We never tried to impeach a president, with all due respect. Rules, Mr.
9 Republican members of the House Intelligence Committee sent a letter to Chairman Adam Schiff documenting their concerns about the process. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Meanwhile, Energy Secretary Rick Perry, who just announced his resignation, faces a Friday deadline on a subpoena for documents related to his role in activities related to Ukraine. This afternoon, the president tweeted that he would nominate Deputy Secretary Sam Brouillette once Perry leaves his position.
Despite new violence along Turkey's border with Syria, President Trump says the U.S. brokered ceasefire is working out so far. The president also said both the Turks and the Kurds are happy with the deal, which would move Kurdish forces from a 20-mile deep so-called safe zone along the Turkish border. Defense Secretary Mark Esper says the agreement does not impact the planned withdrawal of U.S. troops, and no U.S. ground forces will participate in the safe zone. Critics have sharply condemned the deal, saying it essentially gives Turkey what it wanted.
It's a so-called ceasefire. This is not what we expected. In fact, it's not a ceasefire. It's a demand of capitulation of the Kurds.
World leaders are calling on Turkey to withdraw, something it is under no obligation to do. According to the U.S. plan, the president also tweeted that European nations are now willing to take the captured ISIS fighters that came from their nations.
We have a reminder for you if you have a TV in the house that uses an over-the-air antenna. Today, you will have to go into your TV settings and have your antenna rescan for channels in order to keep watching News 3 Now. That's because our signal has moved to a new frequency starting today. We have instructions on how you can do that on our website, channel3000.com. You can also check out tvanswers.org for more help. And if you'd rather talk to someone directly about this, we do have a phone bank open all day to answer your questions and guide you through the process. That number on your screen there, 274-4000. You can call us until 6:30 tonight to speak to one of our volunteers.
And those phones have been ringing nonstop since 10 o'clock this morning.
So obviously a lot of questions about this. We understand, and hopefully we can get everything resolved.
If you're watching us right now, you don't have to do anything, but you have another TV in the house, maybe with an antenna.
Or somebody else in the family that's not sure how to do it. There you go.
There's help. And there's more at 4. We're all targets for scammers.
But military individuals seem to be more at risk than the general public. We will find out why when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, this Frank Lloyd Wright designed home known as the Circular Sun House sold at auction this week for nearly $1.7 million. However, that was $1 million under the listing price.
Wow.
The 3,100 square foot home in Phoenix was completed in 1967. It was the last home Wright designed. The home has been on and off the market since 2016. It was originally listed for $3.69 million, but it is spectacular.
Yeah, that is really neat. A little narrow in some of those spots that they were showing, but overall.
Great design. Well, it's a Wright house.
Yeah, it's a Wright. That's absolutely right.
Well, anyone can be the target of a scam.
That's right. But a recent report finds members of the military and veterans tend to lose more money to con artists. Army veteran Michael Pauling was looking for work and posted his resume on several employment sites. A company reached out with a customer service position, claiming he could work from home. Pauling received a check for $5,000 to buy home office equipment, and he would just send back any money left over. That day, though, he told an acquaintance about the job whose wife had just fallen victim to a scam that sounded similar. Pauling did not lose any money, but many veterans do. A study from the Better Business Bureau found current and former service members who fell for a scam lost an average of $200. That's 32% more than the general public.
When it comes to employment scams, it's really important for you to pay attention for those work from home, flexible job opportunities in particular.
The BBB says current service members are frequently also the target of moving scams. A life-saving drug for children is in short supply.
Vincristine treats a myriad of childhood cancers, but now some hospitals are having a hard time getting their hands on it and may be forced to cut doses or even ration it. The drug is now in short supply because this summer the pharmaceutical company Teva announced that it would stop making the drug due to business reasons. Teva was one of only 2 suppliers of the drug, which has no alternative. Dr. Robbie Hanna is the director of hematology and oncology at Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital. He says shortages of vincristine will force doctors to make tough choices.
We feel it is unethical to be in a situation when we have to ration our drug and say, this is the family, this is the cancer that need this medication, or this is the patient who needs it.
Since 1963, vincristine has been critical in treating most childhood cancers, including leukemias, lymphomas, and brain tumors. Pfizer, now the only supplier of the drug, says it is scaling up production. The FDA says shortages are expected until December or January. The FAA says Boeing withheld messages in 2016 between employees about a flight control system involved in the crashes of 2 737 MAXs. According to the FAA, Boeing test pilots complained in one of the messages that the flight control system was difficult to control. Officials sent a letter to Boeing today saying they demand an explanation immediately. And that news, along with weak economic data from China, sent stocks sharply lower. The Dow Industrials fell 255 points, ending the week at 26,770. The Nasdaq fell 67. The S&P 500 was off 11. Well, 5 years after Disney gave us an alternative take to Sleeping Beauty, it's back with a sequel.
David Daniel has that preview.
Philip asked me to marry him.
No.
I wasn't really asking.
Nor was I. Love doesn't always end well, Beastie.
Trust me. Let us prove you wrong.
Angelina Jolie and Elle Fanning return for the Sleeping Beauty sequel, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
I love it. I love playing her.
I feel a real responsibility for the young girls who loved the first movie to show Aurora as a young woman that I would be proud to show them on screen. So we worked hard at that, and to have Michelle Pfeiffer added to the cast and all of the new members, it's epic.
She will finally get the love of a real mother. Tonight, I consider Aurora my own. There is no union. There will be no wedding. Maleficent is a threat to everyone. We'll do our best to protect you.
Michelle Pfeiffer joins the cast as Aurora's potential mother-in-law.
So I knew what a magical movie this was going to be, and I was really excited before I even read the script to work with Angelina and Elle.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were making a threat. Well, do you? Do I what? Know better.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, that's something.
Yeah, at least it looks like a beautiful movie.
Yeah,
visually, yeah.
We'll see what Will Loper thinks of it on Monday.
Sounds like a plan.
And there's more to come at 4 today. Michael Bruno heads backstage for the latest production at the Broome Street Theater.
And tonight at 5, today has been declared State Hemp Day. Find out why officials with the Department of Consumer Protection are testing the THC levels of this year's crop.
Take a look at this. It is frightening, it's festive, and one thing for sure, it's not your average decorated house for Halloween. You could say Russell Seymour of Charlotte, North Carolina is really into this. He's a carpenter, and he builds an entire new front to his home each year for the holiday using 2x2s and a thin vinyl wrap. He's been doing this since he moved into the house 25 years ago. He says it's like a clock goes off inside of him every September. That's when the decorating starts, and he keeps going until October 31st, which he takes off from work each year. But this year may be his last, at least on this scale. It's a pricey annual project to the tune of over $2,000 a year, but it's a head turner.
Yeah, no kidding.
People come from all over.
I bet they do. I mean, that's so much work. It's enough work for me to like put up Christmas lights.
Build a whole new facade of the house?
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
I guess so.
We have a visitor out on the patio.
Oh, there he is. He's over here. He's over here.
There's a squirrel.
Yes. He's been eating everything out there. We were watching him before, and man, is he having the buffet of a lifetime.
Every time I go out there to do weather, there's a squirrel that just goes running.
Well,
and I'm like, it's okay.
There's hardly any corn left.
Well,
thanks, Schusters, for the effort.
Yeah, good try.
All right. Well, I'll have that forecast coming up next. Are they gathering enough for winter?
Well,
I hope so.
He's getting pretty chubby there.
I know. Interesting. We'll talk about what we can expect over the week ahead coming up. A beautiful Friday that we did have here across South Central Wisconsin. Some upper level cloud covers making for what could be a beautiful sunset as we move later on into the evening. But here's a live look right now. The sun's still higher up in the sky, and you've got the wispy high clouds that are made of ice crystals. So we'll be watching that sunset later on today. Temperature-wise, we are fairly mild. These are the highs as we went through today. Madison topped out at 59. Boscobel topped out at 65. La Crosse topping out at 66. And oddly enough, our high of 59 was a lot closer to average than we have been. We've either been above or we've been below as of late. But normally we topped out right around 58 degrees. We started out this morning at 33. So when we go down in history, this day will end up being below normal just because of that overnight low. 59 is where we sit right now. Still breezy with those winds coming in out of the south and southeast at 18 miles per hour. 61 for our friends in Janesville right now. Boscobel still at 65. And the temperatures where they sit right now is really the warmest part of the day. So these still are the high temperatures for a lot of spots. But I want to point out temperatures throughout other parts of the Midwest. 71 in Des Moines, Omaha at 74, Hill City, Kansas at 87. Right now, that is the influence of a warm front, but there is a cold front on the backside of that. That's going to be bringing more rain chances as we head into tomorrow. In the meantime, we're under the influence of really this strong southerly wind that's helping to keep those temperatures on a warmer note. But watch what happens as we go through time. We take the fronts off, still watch things. The south wind moves on in here. We see those clouds increase overnight tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll see a line of showers developing just to our west that starts to creep on eastward, but it's going to really run out of moisture as it does so. So we'll likely be dealing with a dying line of some showers tomorrow. We'll get some dry air for Sunday. Then the next system comes our way. I do believe it's going to have more moisture to work with than what Future Track is showing. I think Monday could end up being a pretty rainy day for us. But one thing that is for sure, this is tapping into some colder air on the backside of it. Here's the upper air pattern, just showing you where the cold air is and how it's on the move. This is Monday behind that front. We'll see the first surge of some cooler air early next week. And watch that really pour in for Tuesday. Then the bigger front's going to arrive with a little rain chance on Thursday. And this one goes all the way down towards the Gulf Coast with plenty of cold air available as we move towards next weekend. In fact, that cold period really could last going through about the end of the month into November. So yes, be prepared for probably a chilly end of the month, but we're staying warm at least for this weekend. We'll start out in the 40s tomorrow morning. Here comes the line of showers. This is 1 o'clock. You'll see those showers towards the west. They gradually move eastward. Here they are in Madison by 5:30. And again, they'll be running out of steam as they move on towards the east. And then eventually we'll see those temperatures cool down into the low 40s tomorrow night, bouncing right back into the 60s by Sunday. We're talking temperatures into the mid 60s with plenty of sunshine. That is the pick day of the entire 10-day forecast. But then we gradually cool down slowly but surely as we go through the week. Another rain chance on Thursday with temperatures in the 50s. And then I do think by next weekend it's going to be a struggle to get out of the 30s. Some of those temperatures may have to be brought down just a smidge, but the colder air is on the move. And I think at this time of the year, the colder air just tends to win out.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier in the week on the noon show. We're grilling on Sunday, right?
Yeah, I'm going to find a way to put some brats on a grill on Sunday.
I like
That's
it.
what we're going to do.
I like it.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Chris. And we'll keep you up to date on the weekend weather and all the latest headlines on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday and Sunday.
And then stay tuned for CBS Sunday Morning.
Jane Pauley is with us. Jane joining us from New York. I understand you have a very busy Sunday morning as usual, and including a piece on Robert De Niro.
Oh, and friends. Hey, Mark, we have got not one, not two, but three great movie greats together. Martin Scorsese, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro sat down with our Lee Cowan to talk about their new film, The Irishman. It's a mob epic about the murder of Teamsters union leader Jimmy Hoffa. This is the first movie they've made together, and this is the first TV interview they've done together. Here's a clip.
Do you feel like collectively that this is one of the best things you guys have ever done?
I mean, I always knew that it would be a special thing, no matter what happened, as far as the reaction to it, that we would create something, do something together, all of us. It was going to be special no matter what. You can't take that away from us. That's all. If it gets a good reaction, that's even better.
Do you think we'll ever see the three of you together again?
It'd be great, but who knows? Yeah. I'm just happy we got this.
Yeah, you too. Wait, this for a while.
We're having a party.
We're having a party. I would like to go to that party. And Mark, this movie uses a new technology that actually de-ages the stars by 20 or 30 years for the flashback scenes. I'd like to try a little of that myself.
Yeah, in this studio, I'd like that myself, too. All right, sounds great. What else is on the show this weekend?
Okay, well, watch the fun when 3 Sunday morning correspondents are locked in a room together. It's the escape room phenomenon. People pay to be locked in and then have to get themselves out. David Pogue convinced Martha Teichner and Nancy Giles to show us how it's done, showing that they are far better sports than I am.
Oh, I thought we were going to have a clip. I guess not.
No clip.
All right.
No.
Lots going
Far
on as
better
usual.
sports
We'll see you Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you, Mark.
I thought
You
there was a
got to
second
keep it
clip.
elusive,
You
the
do.
escape room.
So you've done that.
Yeah, it is really, when it's done well, it's very, very cool. And it makes you think.
Yeah, I think I'd be claustrophobic. Well, there's more to come at 4. It is one giant walk for womankind, and it is historic.
For the first time ever, 2 women made a spacewalk outside of the International Space Station, and we're flying high when Live at 4 continues.
This is a live look at downtown Houston as we give the satellite a spin for the day. And Houston did not have a problem today. History was made with the first all-female spacewalk.
That's right. The astronauts are performing repairs outside the International Space Station, both in suits that fit them, we should point out. Why does that matter, you ask? Lisa Mateo reports.
right beneath your feet, so don't move down. Copy.
There was some polite maneuvering up in space as astronauts Christina Cook and Jessica Meir made their way outside the International Space Station to replace a battery. Meir walked hand over hand. Cook hitched a ride on a robotic arm.
I think we're ready for the badge swap if you guys want to lead us through that.
For the first time in history, 2 female astronauts are spacewalking together.
Certainly women have walked in space before, 15 in fact, 14 of those NASA astronauts. But this is the first time it's been all women, and that's generated a lot of excitement.
The first all-female spacewalk was supposed to happen back in March with Cook and astronaut Anne McClain. But only one medium-sized torso spacesuit was available, so both women could not participate. Since then, NASA designed a more one-size-fits-all spacesuit, making way for Friday's historic spacewalk.
Do you hear me?
President Trump spoke directly to the astronauts as they were finishing up their work, some 260 miles above the Earth.
We can hear you.
That's great.
This is really just us doing our job. At the same time, we recognize that it is a historic achievement, and we do, of course, want to give credit to all of those that came before us.
And they're hopeful there will be many more all-female spacewalks to come. Lisa Mateo, CBS News, New York.
You go, girls. Astronaut Christina Cook is 7 months into an 11-month space flight. That would be the longest by a woman.
Incredible.
I love it.
Yep. Well, still to come at 4, it's Broome Street Theater's homage to its founder, Joel Gershman.
That's right. And Michael Bruno goes backstage at the new play, highlighting 10 of those previous works. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Okay,
Well, happy Friday. Let's go ahead and hit you guys with the traffic report. We're watching the Beltline at Todd Drive right now. The volume is certainly on the increase, and you do see the slowdowns, especially eastbound. Westbound, things are still moving. Here's how things are showing up on the map. So there is one accident showing up at the Beltline at Whitney Way. No major delays being shown there. Otherwise, your slowest speeds right now are anywhere from about 14 miles per hour up towards 16 and 20 miles per hour. Downtown, we're also seeing some of those delays, especially on Park Street, along with Campus Drive and Regent. Be prepared for some slowdowns there. Otherwise, other routes are mainly cruising along. The slowest route right now is going to be Verona Road to John Nolan. That's going to take you just over 15 minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. Lady Gaga took a nasty fall off the stage at her Las Vegas residency show in Enigma last night. Video posted to Twitter shows Gaga straddling a fan who then loses his footing. The two tumble off the edge of the catwalk. The crowd screamed, but the pop star returned to the show and finished her set. Neither were hurt, but that is kind of scary.
Yeah, no kidding.
The Broome Street Theater is paying homage to its late legendary artistic director, Joel Gershman, with a new play called Keep It, plucked from the corpus of Joel Gershman.
This play is highlights of 10 of Gershman's plays, including Tail Gunner Joe, critical of Wisconsin Senator Joe McCarthy.
Our Michael Bruno goes backstage to check out Keep It.
Where's my public relations officer? Lieutenant Kimball.
Yes, sir.
Take pictures of my men.
Yes, sir. Click, 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 smile, sir. Click, 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 click.
Write up the bombing missions. This is major news. Send it to all the papers in Wisconsin.
Yes, sir.
I'll be senator yet.
Well, this year is our 50th anniversary, and Joel was such a huge part of this theater for 35 of those 50 years that as the anniversary came up, I thought we really need to do something that addresses Joel's legacy, that reintroduces a younger generation to Joel's work, people who wouldn't have seen it.
Well, this is about Joel Gershman and the work, and really the commitment he had to art in his life. This is someone who prioritized theater and the creative life over everything else. And he showed many people, myself included, how you can create, tell your own story. And he fostered many people in Madison and throughout the country in that effort.
I need 10 minutes to learn how to use the tail guns. This will get me more votes. I've only been on one real bombing mission. Some might call it a love letter to Broome Street and Joel Gershman, but considering it's Joel Gershman, it might be a fairly angry and slightly offbeat love letter.
And does this consist of the body of his work over the years?
It would be about 4 weeks long if we did the entire body of Joel Gershman's work. This is about 10 to 11 of his sections of many of his greatest hits in many ways. Sexy Priests, The Abortionist, Joe a Life, and taking all of those and putting them together in sort of a compilation as a tribute to his work and his influence on Broome Street Theater.
You've been swell to us, sir. You're like Santa Claus to us men.
Take me up in this plane. Show me how to use the tail gun. I need more combat experience.
I play about 30 different roles altogether. I play Anne Frank, I'm John the Baptist, I play the Pope's personal pizza table, I'm a Southern lady, I'm a sexy ghost, and many more. We're taking off, sir!
I'll be senator yet. Strafe those coconut trees!
He wrote 88 original works, but he directed 114 shows. And initially, we were thinking for the 50th anniversary of Broome Street, we would do one of his shows, bring it back. But the more I thought about it, it just didn't quite feel right. Some of his shows were literally take Cosmo magazine, take a few articles, and make a show based on that.
We're home, sir.
Oh, good job, Kimball. I must have destroyed 1,000 coconut trees.
Other of his plays, would be a specific person, a biography of McCarthy or Princess Diana. But there are just so many wonderful elements and so many wonderful scenes in his plays. Doing one just seemed a little stale to me. So when I thought, well, I could do what Joel did, and instead of Cosmo magazine, I could use his entire body of work and create something new without changing any of the words.
And obviously, he was a very, very controversial character. In studying his body of work, did you find things out about him that you didn't know previously?
It's amazing when you look at some of these plays, especially something like Sexy Priests or Joe a Life, in which so much of it is still relevant today, and it's sadly enough, it still works. Joel could be writing today right now, and he could pick up right where he left off. And it would probably anger him so much that he could do that.
And what do you think Joel would say about all this if he were here now to look around and say, this is where it's come to?
There's bullshit.
Beep. Beep.
Now you can call me Tail Gunner Joe.
Yes, sir, Tail Gunner Joe.
Write up articles about my heroism. Tell the exploits of Tail Gunner Joe. Give it the old blood and guts treatment.
Yes, sir.
Send copies to all the papers in Wisconsin, including those counties of my judicial district.
Yes, sir.
What kind of mission is this, Lieutenant?
A combat mission, sir.
That's right, a combat mission.
And Michael Bruno's here now. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Greatest hits.
And it's amazing that the 50 years that the theater company's been in existence in Madison, which is quite a feat because it's gone to seeing its ups and downs, and it's doing really well now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
it's good to see.
It is very good to see. And he was one of those characters where he either really, really liked you and put you on all this stuff, or he banned you and put you on the you're never coming into this theater again list. And people would find out that their names are on this list, and they're like, how come I'm never getting called, never getting cast or anything? Well, you're on the do not play list at the Broome Street Theater.
Did you ever work with him?
I never did. I never got a chance to work with him. It's one of the only theater companies that I've never worked with in town. I kind of missed my opportunity.
Yeah, must have been so tough to take such a breadth of work and narrow it down to just 10 or 11 things.
Very true. They tried to take a good cross section of some of his most popular ones that he did, and some of them are very X-rated and some of them are very rude. So they're kind of edited those out down, make just selected scenes from
the censored version to some degree.
Exactly.
It is Keep It plucked from the corpus of Joel Gersman. It's at the Broome Street Theater weekends through November 22nd. Go to bstonline.org. And next week?
Next week we'll be doing Footloose at Sun Prairie High School.
Well, that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Because you got it.
And you're all dolled up. You're hosting.
Yes, I'm hosting the annual Outreach Awards Banquet and giving a wonderful Ally of the Year award to Governor Tony Evers tonight.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank
congrats.
you.
That's great.
All right, thank you. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Recap of your weather's coming up.
Roll playback.
Get that, Danica? You speak Spanish.
Yeah, a little bit of it. A little bit. At least you got the signs to help along.
Yes, those do certainly help. Well, the weather this weekend, or as we go through tonight anyway, it's going to be fairly quiet. We'll be partly cloudy. Look for those lows falling towards 48 degrees. Tomorrow, though, we're going to see some rounds of showers, especially in the afternoon. Temperatures should top out right around 58. I think the best timing to see some showers tomorrow is probably going to be between about noon and 4 o'clock.
Okay. Keep an umbrella handy.
Yeah, right during the Badger game.
I think it's away this time.
Oh, that's right. That's
It's on the Champagne. All right, thank you, Chris. We'll be right back with the News Hounds.
After a long week, there is no better way to end it than with the best animal stories of the week.
Cue Lola and Louie. They have this week's edition of the News Hounds Now Update.
It's News Hounds Now Update with Lola and Louie.
This week on the News Hounds Now Update, it's a sloth at a children's hospital.
Two best buds.
And elephants with a half-ton pumpkin.
But first, a rare birth at Scotland's Highland Wildlife Park. 3 snow leopard cubs made their debut at the park this week. The yet-to-be-named 7-week-old cubs started to leave their cubbing box and explore the enclosure under the watchful eye of their mother, Animesh. Snow leopards are relatively solitary animals, so Dad, Chan, is living separately from Mom and the cubs, who will remain with their mother until they're around 2 years old. Snow leopards are listed as vulnerable because their population is declining, so these 3 are a welcome addition to that population.
Who doesn't love sloths? So it makes perfect sense to bring a sloth to a children's hospital to cheer up the little patients. Sienna, the 2-tone sloth, made a surprise visit to the pediatric unit at a hospital in San Antonio. Sloths have proven to have a calming presence for children. Sienna's fun to be around, and the children are just amazed by her. The staff loved her visit as well. One word describes this experience: perfect.
Some elephants at an Ohio zoo got to celebrate fall by chowing down on a 1,300-pound pumpkin. The Cleveland Zoo is celebrating 30 years of Boo at the Zoo by giving the animals a Halloween treat. The elephants, as you can see, had a pretty good time smashing the pumpkin with their feet and throwing pieces around with their trunks, as well as eating the fruits of their labor.
They actually ate the